This empty gym here reminds me so much of a gym I grew up in Clemson, South Carolina. I literally spent thousands upon thousands of hours in a gym just like this. The only real sounds I ever heard was the cracking of the floor, the echoes of the rafters, or maybe just the ball hitting the rim or against the backboard. It was an exciting time of my life. And I'm here today. The purpose of this video is to teach you how to shoot. I've divided it up into 3 sections. First of all is the mechanics of shooting a basketball, the fundamental part of it. The second part is, of course, the psychology of shooting a basketball. And the third part is the application of the skills of shooting a basketball. Let's get right into it. First of all, where does the ball sit? Well, for so long, and still today, people say that the ball should be on your fingertips. But if I had the ball on my fingertips, this is where it would be. I don't think you've seen too many people shoot the basketball like this. But the correct way where the ball should sit, first of all, is on the pad of the hand. And then the ball is also going to rest on the fingers themselves. So the ball rests on the finger pad. The finger pad, whether you're right-handed or whether you're left-handed. It doesn't matter. It's going to sit on the fingers and come down to the pad. One thing you want is not to have the palm area touching the ball. You want this to be completely open and empty of the basketball. Why? Well, there's a simple illustration of this. If I took this basketball and placed it in my palm and moved my palm back and forth, you can see the basketball falls out. But if I move it up on the finger pads, on my fingers, on the pad, move it back and forth, you can see that I have control of the basketball. And this is what happens. You want the ball on the fingers, the pad, making sure the palm is not on the basketball at all. The second part is the hand. Where should the hand be placed on the basketball? Well, the meatier portion of the hand, the back of the hand, should be placed right in the center of the basketball. But the one finger that shoots the basketball, and 98% of shooters today, whether you're playing in the high school level, junior high level, college level, or the NBA, they normally shoot with their index finger. Now, how do I know that? Well, whichever finger is in the center of the basketball, that's the last finger that the ball is going to roll off on. Now, how does that happen? Well, let me show you what happens when a ball rolls off and you get ready to shoot. In slow motion, as you can see me doing here, the first thing that comes off is the thumb, and then there's the little finger, then this finger, then, of course, the middle finger, and the last finger off the basketball is your index or your forefinger. The reason is, no matter where I put my finger, it's in the center of the basketball, this forefinger. When you place your hand behind the basketball, make sure that this meaty portion of your hand, from your knuckles back to your wrist, are in the center of the basketball. Then this forefinger, as you can see, this forefinger is in the center. It's a straight angle. But you can see the rest of my fingers are at a slight angle to the right. That's what happens. Your hand is slightly in a degree to the right, maybe 5 or 10 degrees to the right. But the center of my hand, from the knuckles back, is straight on the ball with this finger. So when I release it, it goes off with this finger. Next thing we want to talk about is the elbow. How is the elbow and the arm supposed to look? Well, it's supposed to look like this, straight. It should be perpendicular to the rim. The rim sits in a horizontal fashion. The arm sits in a vertical fashion. So we want the elbow to be perpendicular to the rim, just like a T. We want to form a T when we have the basketball in this area right here. Now, what happens? I've seen so many kids, most of them, they always have their elbow out like this to shoot the basketball. The reason for this is when they grow up, they take too many shots that are too far for themselves. And they don't really learn the mechanics of shooting. They start pushing the basketball. They don't shoot the basketball. So what you want is you want the elbows straight like this. Here's what happens. If I move my elbow out like this, you can see that just by turning my hand on the basketball, my elbow will go out. When your elbow is straight, your hand is going to be a slightly 5 to 10 degrees to the right on the basketball, and your forefinger is going to be in the center. Let's go into this, the left hand. Now, of course, where should the left hand be on the basketball? It really depends upon your own comfortability as far as shooting the basketball. When I shoot the basketball, I like it right here. But some people will have their hand up here. Some will have it a little bit further under. But remember this about the left hand. The left hand basically does not do the shooting. The left hand basically guides the basketball, and you should not have the basketball in the left hand in a firm grip. It should just be sitting there. If I let go of my left hand right now, watch what happens. The ball should fall out. I don't want to grab the ball very hard with the left hand at all. So you'll be able to find out where that left hand should go just by when you shoot the basketball. Now let's look at the wrist. The wrist is how you get the backspin on the ball. We're going to talk about backspin. First of all, how do I get backspin? Well, I get that as you can see my wrist and my hand area right here. You can see my hand is at a flat angle. And this is really where the ball should sit on the hand and on the wrist area. It should be a flat angle so that when you release the basketball, when you release it, you have what's called the wrist flex or the wrist snap. It's just like this. This is what happens. And when you snap your wrist like this, when you snap your wrist like that, you will get what's called backspin. The backspin will come on the basketball. So wrist snap, wrist flex is very important. You have to know how to snap your wrist. Some guys can't get backspin because of the fact that they just have this Frankenstein type of approach in shooting and releasing the basketball. So make sure that you're very relaxed when you snap that wrist. The next thing we want to talk about is the gun barrel. Now, the gun barrel is from the ball all the way down to the shoulder. That's what shoots the basketball. Your arm is what shoots the basketball. So when I shoot the basketball and I release it, I have what's called the gun barrel. It goes all the way to the tip of my finger right here. That's where it goes from that point on. Now, when I shoot the basketball, when I release it, I want to call what's called the follow-through freeze. Literally, if I could just wrap my finger, that index finger around the center part of that rim, right in the front of that rim, right in the front of this rim right here, just taking that finger like this. So when I release the ball, I want that hand to be straight out, and I want to hold that hand up at least 1,000 count. I would say at least 1 second to hold it up. Because if you don't hold it up, that's how you're going to get your shots to fall short, they're going to fall long, or anything else. It's really in this gun barrel approach that when you release the ball and you follow through and you freeze, when you freeze your arm up here, you're going to get good follow through, and wherever your arm goes, that's where the ball goes. Now, the next thing we're going to talk about is, of course, the target. Now, the target, of course, is the rim. Now, I want to look directly at the rim. I want to look at the front of the rim. And as you can see, that rim is divided up, and it's 360 degrees. It's a center. It's a circle. And if I can put in my mind that just to divide that up and just come to the front of that rim when I shoot the basketball, no matter where I shoot from any area of the court, I look directly at the front of that rim. And that's my target. Because you see, when someone does follow the ball, when they do release it, as I get ready to release this ball right here, you can see if I was to just follow the ball, then I'd have to go like this. Watch. And then release it. Well, nobody can shoot like that because you're not looking at the rim. So what happens is this. When someone does follow the ball, they're here and they see the rim, then they release it. When they've released the ball, then they start following it. The arc of the ball, or the arch of the ball. Some coaches call it arch, some coaches call it arc. But the thing about it is, it's the curvature of the ball when you shoot it. In other words, the higher the arc, I believe the less degree of mistakes that you will have when you shoot the basketball. Some people shoot a flat arc. They may shoot the ball straight on to the rim, barely getting over the front of it. Other people shoot a real high arc. And it literally, when you shoot, the higher the arc you shoot, what happens is this. The ball, when it hits the rim, will have a better opportunity for your offensive players to get the rebound and to put it back in. The flatter the arc, when it does hit the rim, it's going to come flying way out, and it's really going to give an opportunity to the other team to fast break on you. So when you shoot the basketball, you want it to be able to hang on the rim. If you do miss it, make sure it hangs on the rim, because if it hangs on the rim, you're going to get some of your offensive players, your centers and your forwards are going to rebound it and lay it back in, and they're going to like you for that. So be sure that when you shoot the basketball, that you shoot with enough arc on the basketball that it's going to hang the ball closely to the rim. Mechanics of shooting. Let me go over those again one more time for you. First of all is finger pad control. Secondly, make sure that the hand is directly behind the ball. Thirdly, always have your elbow straight. Fourth, make sure that the left hand is there just to support the basketball, but don't hold it there real firm. Fifthly, wrist flex, the snapping of the wrist, which will give you backspin. 6, the gun barrel approach. Wherever you shoot the basketball, that's where the arm goes. 7, the follow-through freeze. Make sure that when you shoot it, that you freeze your arm for at least 1 second. 8, the target should be the front of the rim. 9, always develop the proper arc or proper arch when you shoot the basketball. 10, learn to hang the ball close to the rim. One of the most important aspects of shooting a basketball is what I call the open window technique. Now, what does that mean? Well, let me explain it to you. Both eyes have to be on the front of the rim. And what most mistakes that are made by young people, even people that are in college, even players that are in the NBA, some of them are called one-eyed shooters. Now, what does that mean, being a one-eyed shooter? Well, here's what happens. If their arm is right here, if I was to close my left eye right now, all my right eye sees is my wrist. So I really only have one eye that's on the target. My other eye is on my wrist. So what happens when you have this one-eyed perception, as it might say? Here's what happens. Sometime get a friend of yours and ask him to do this little game. And what it is just have your friend close one eye and have your friend start throwing you some change and see if you can catch it. I caught that one. I caught that one. I missed that. I missed that. Now what happens when you shoot, when you throw the change into someone, I have good direction with my eye. If you've ever shot pool in your lifetime, you can line up the ball one behind the other with one eye. You have good direction, but you have no depth. Now what is depth perception? Depth perception is the ability to conceive how far you are from a certain object. When I shoot the basketball, I must have both eyes on the target. If I only have one eye, that's how most of you, when you shoot the basketball, you either fall short or you go real long and it might come off the board real hard. So what you want to do is this. Instead of having your arm here, just move it off like this, maybe 2 inches. That's all you have to do. Maybe an inch, maybe an inch and a half, but the maximum is 2 inches. Your elbow is straight. Here I have both eyes on the target. I have an open window, an open viewing to the target, to where I am shooting the basketball. So remember, the thing that you want is don't have your arm here, but just move it over so that you have both eyes on the target. Next, we want to talk about the body, the different parts of the body that is utilized in shooting a basketball. Now, the head is very important. Most people don't think the head has anything to do with shooting, but it really does. You know, basically the average head weighs somewhere between 20 and 25 pounds. So that when you shoot a basketball, if I was to rock my head when I shot, I've seen some guys shoot and put their head forward, some shoot and put their head back, some guys lean like this when they shoot, some guys lean at this angle when they shoot. You don't want any movement of the head when you shoot a basketball. So when I get ready to shoot it, I've got both eyes on the target, I have the open window technique. I'm going to make sure that my head is still. I want it completely still when I release the basketball. Next thing I'm going to talk about is the shoulders. Now the shoulders should be squared up to the basket. I want the shoulders squared up to the basket. I want my chest area right here to be squared to the basket. I want my stomach area right here to be squared to the basket. I don't want to be off like this. I don't want to be off like this. I want to make sure that I'm completely in front of the basket, completely in front of that rim, and I want to make sure as I keep going down that my knees are flexed, they're bent just a little bit when I'm getting ready to release the ball. And if I go down to my feet, since I shoot with the right hand, I want to make sure that my right foot is maybe 1.5 to 2 inches in front of my left foot. Why? Because I'm a right-handed shooter. Everything's coming from the right side. I would be going against myself if I had my left foot in front. See, I'd be shooting back against myself. So I want to shoot with my right foot in front. If you're left-handed, make sure that your left foot is just a little bit in front. Make sure that your toes are pointed directly towards the front of the rim when you shoot the basketball. Directly like this. What is the width of the feet? The width depends upon how tall you are. If you're 5'6", 5'7", 5'8", it might be 6 or 8 inches. If you're 7 feet, 6 or 8 inches to a 7-footer might be 10 to 12 inches. Wherever it's comfortable for you when you release the basketball, when you're getting ready to shoot the basketball. Now the next thing we want to talk about is leg power. The power boost of the legs, which gets the ball to the hoop. Leg power is so very important. And the reason it's important is because if you don't have strong legs, you're going to find yourself, especially in the third or the fourth quarter, having your shot just come up a little bit short most of the time. So you want to have strong legs when you shoot the basketball. You want to make sure that your elbows are close to your side. Don't have your elbows out. Many youngsters make the mistake when they pass the ball or when they shoot the basketball, they want to have their elbows out. Now, we went over that before, but I want to explain to you again. The reason you don't want your elbows out like this is because you'll start pushing the ball. You'll start pushing the basketball, and you want to shoot it. So keep your elbows close to your side, almost as if you had a little chain that was hooked around your arm, and you couldn't pull it away. So that when I take the basketball here, you can see my elbow is almost touching my side. In fact, it is touching my side right now. As I go up to shoot the basketball, you can see I have the straight elbow and everything else that we've talked about. So make sure that your elbows are close to your side. Now, as I go up, watch this last point. As I go up right here, you see my elbow is directly in front of the rim. This is where you can check yourself. You can freeze yourself. As I get ready to shoot the basketball right here, I can just take my elbow and make sure that it's facing the rim. What happens is most kids' elbow will be out like this. It's not facing the rim. And this is why you're beginning to push the basketball. So make sure that that elbow is close to your side. And as you raise your hand up to release the basketball like this, that elbow is directly pointed towards the front of that rim. Let's take the next few minutes to talk about the psychology of shooting. I call them the 3 C's. The first is conceptualization or image shooting. Now let me ask you a question. What do you think about when I say the word elephant? Or maybe if I say this word, giraffe. Do you have an image in your mind of that elephant and of that giraffe? Well, if you're like most people, you do, because I did. And I'm sure you did also. Now, that's what we're talking about today, is image shooting. This is the first part. When I was a little kid, let me give you an example. When I was just a little kid, my dad came to me in the gym one day and he said, "Pete, I don't like the way you're shooting. You're not shooting too good." And I said, "Well, I'm trying to." He says, "But you really need to do something." I said, "What's that?" He said, "I want you to think of a little man." And I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Well, take this little man and picture him in your mind. And this little man, he does all your shooting when you're not shooting. And he shoots and he shoots and he shoots. And everything he does, he never misses. Your little man never misses. I want you to put that into your head. This little man never misses. Now, when you shoot, you'll never miss either." So I took that as a 7 and 8-year-old, and I began thinking about that all day long. And that's one of the aspects of getting that image into your mind. You want to see the ball released and into the hoop before you ever shoot it. That's called image shooting. Now, you create your own image in your mind, but be sure to do this, that when you release the ball, make sure you see it going through the hoop. Now, the second part, of course, is concentration. Let me give you another example. I remember when I was a kid, again, my dad knew that the basketball was an extension of my hand. Everywhere I went, I took the basketball. One of the places that I took the basketball was to bed with me. You know, many kids today, they either take a teddy bear, they take a stuffed animal, or they take a baby doll, or they take something like that when you're a small kid to bed with you. But I took a basketball. The reason I took a basketball is because I wanted it near me. I wanted it next to me. I was what you might call a basketball android. I was robotized into playing the game of basketball. But I would lay flat on the bed right before I went to sleep, and I would start shooting up in the air. And I would say 3 things. I would say finger pad control, backspin, follow through. Finger pad control, backspin, follow through. I might do this for 30 or 45 minutes a night. The reason is I was trying to get a mindset. I was trying to disciplining my mind, because see, concentration is disciplining your mind and your body to shoot. And this was what I was trying to do, even when I was laying in bed. So, when I was lying in bed and I was shooting like this up in the air, I was concentrating. I was concentrating. I was concentrating on those 3 details and aspects of shooting a basketball. The third C is confidence. Now, how do you build your confidence? One of the ways I used to build my confidence was when I was shooting the basketball. If I was missing a great deal when I was practicing by myself, say I shot 3 or 4 or 5 shots and maybe only made 1, what I would do is get the basketball, I'd come back under the basket, and I'd start shooting layups. Say I was 1 for 5. I'd shoot a layup, that'd make me 2 for 6. I would shoot a layup, that'd make me 3 for 7. I would shoot a layup, that would make me 4 for 8. I would shoot a layup, that'd make me 5 for 9. I was over 50%. And then I would go back out and I'd begin shooting again my regular shots. But I wanted to keep myself over 50% when I practiced, because it would build greater confidence in me. You see, the key to greater confidence is never letting yourself be discouraged, especially when you shoot the basketball. If you're a good shooter, if you've got all the mechanics, if you've got the right habits when you shoot the basketball, then you're going to be a shooter. Not only will you be a shooter, but you also will be a scorer. So the most important thing is, again, is to remember, don't be discouraged. But if you miss a few, keep shooting. And if your coach knows the talent that you have, then he will ask you to keep shooting, because you can't become a better shooter unless you keep shooting. Let me demonstrate now to you how you can become a better shooter. First of all, just let me shoot a little bit just to get warmed up. The thing I want to show you is that you watch me as I shoot the basketball, and you'll see all the techniques that I've just talked about come into fruition. As you can see right now, I'm just getting warmed up, but what I want to do is make sure, you can see the gun barrel, make sure that when you shoot, you notice right away that the ball is on the fingertips, the palm's not on it. I got the open window when I do shoot the basketball. The jump shot is shot in the area that whether or not you want to jump high or whether you want to jump just a little bit. The object is to make sure that you're comfortable, that you're relaxed, and that you're always in balance. Everything is squared up to the basket. A guy like Larry Bird shoots basically a set shot. He very seldom jumps higher than 6 to 8 inches. Another guy by the name of Michael Jordan, he jumps very high on his jump shot. And so when I used to play, I used to get pretty high on my jump shot. One of the most important things when you shoot a jump shot is to release the ball on the way up. You want to release the ball on the way up. You don't want to release the ball on the way down. Many players release the ball there. And as you can see, I'm shooting on the way down. What happens? I'm going down, the ball's going up, and what's going to happen is it's going to hit the front of the rim. It's going to be short. You can't shoot against yourself. You want everything to go in one motion. I want to be one fluid motion going up towards the rim. So I want to shoot on the way up, which is right there. I want to shoot on the way up. And you notice all the mechanics, the way I shoot, right now, you're seeing coming out. You're seeing coming out right now. You see, it's really just instinctive. When you shoot the basketball, it should be instinctive to you. You notice that I'm shooting the ball on the way up. Now, when you shoot the ball on the way up, you're going to be able to move further out to shoot the basketball because your legs are going to be much more powerful. And the thing about it is that it's going to be a lot easier for you to shoot, especially you young kids. Doesn't matter. You don't have to jump high. You can jump just that far. But make sure that you release the ball on the way up. When you shoot your jump shot, make sure that you have the proper arc on the ball. If you shoot a good arc, the higher the arc, the ball is going to rest. It's going to be able to hang around the rim. If you shoot a flatter arc like that, then the ball is going to hit the basket a little bit harder. And also, you're going to be able to have that ball come back to you. So you really don't need anyone to throw the ball back. Shoot on the way up and make sure that all the mechanics of shooting the basketball are in place. What I'd like to show now is different types of layups. Of course, for you beginners, I want to show, first of all, what you do on a layup. Number one thing is just put the ball in your left hand, especially if you're right-handed. I'll be on the left side in a second if you're a southpaw. But put the ball in your left hand just like this. Put your right hand behind it. And what you want to do is you want to push. You want to just push this ball up. I'm going to plant my left foot. I'm going to raise my right leg up. I'm going to explode upwards. And I'm going to push the hand just like this and follow through. So I'm here, the hand's there, it's behind, and I push the hand up. That is the overhand layup. And that's what every beginner needs to learn. That's the fundamental layup that everyone has to learn. So you explode up with your right leg, you plant with your left, you go up with your right, and you follow through. One of the things you don't want to do is broad jump when you shoot a layup. So when you come in for a layup, make sure that you plant that left foot and go vertical as much as you can. So don't forget, overhand is like this. Now if it's on the left side, what I want to do is do the same thing. I'm going to plant my right foot. The ball is going to be in my right hand. My left hand is going to be here. I'm going to push off just like this and follow through. I'm going to push off and follow through. One more time. I'm going to push off and follow through. That's the overhand layup. Now, the next layup I want to show is the one that everyone does, of course, is the underhand layup. Underhand layup comes from this direction here. You come and you put the ball up just like this. You want to just literally just follow through with your right hand. So as I come in, let me demonstrate this again. I'm just going to go off like this. So it's the same way from the left side. I want to come in here and I want to go up just like this. A pro layup, it really means it's just releasing the ball way up in the air. So I'm going to go first against the board. You'll see the ball above the square when I release it. There's not too many people that are going to block that type of shot. When you release it way up there to the top of the backboard and you can get that, they're not going to release it. Now, if you don't use the backboard, then use the front of the rim right here and go up straight. Now, one of the biggest things you must remember when you shoot the pro layup is that you must let go of it before the man jumps. If the man jumps at an angle out, you're going to get the shot blocked. But if I release it here and then follow through, it's going to come right down to me. See, so that's called the pro layup. Wham, see? They're not going to block that type of shot. So this is a shot that you can work on. You can work on it, again, off the board, up there, top of the backboard. Who's going to get up there and get it? Michael Jordan can't get that ball up there, I'm telling you, if I release it soon enough. If I didn't release it soon enough, it'll be in the stands. Same thing to your hand. That's the pro layup. Okay, the next layup we're going to talk about is a reverse layup. The reverse layup comes about, say you're on a fast break. You're coming down here, you're getting ready to shoot the ball here, but you see the man coming in to block your shot. As you go up here, you just reverse the ball over on this side, and you release it just like that. So a reverse layup is coming on this side and going back over here, releasing it, and letting it go. You can also do it from the left side. I come in here, I shoot here, but I come on this side and release it. Same way. That's called a reverse layup. I come in here, I start to shoot on this side, I come back the other side and release the ball. So what you want to do is make sure that you're underneath the basket enough so that you can release the ball. Now, the next shot I want to go over, next layup, is called the crossover layup. Crossover layup is like the reverse, except I'm not going to reverse. I'm just going to cross back over. I'm going to turn my body back in to the basket. So I come in here, I'm going to turn it over, and I'm going to do just like this. Same way this way. I'm going to come over here, turn my body in, and I'm going to make it just like that. So you have the crossover layup. Come in here, turn your body in, and shoot it just like this. You have right hand, or you have left. In, and shoot it just like this. That's your crossover layup. Next layup I want to go over is called the loop shot. As I would come down on a fast break, whether it be a 3-on-1 or a 2-on-1 or even a 2-on-2, normally the defense would back up to protect the basket. Some guys come down and they'll come down here and they'll shoot a little jump shot. Maybe they'll pass off if someone's open. Maybe get the ball back so they can shoot the jump shot. What I developed was just called the loop shot. I would make this a long layup. What I would do is basically just plant my left foot on the foul line, and follow the ball in and loop the ball up in the air in this fashion, like that, and coming down and getting the ball just like this. That's called the loop shot. It's also a good crowd shot. So you take that left foot and you throw it up and come right back under, and you have the ball. You know, basketball is supposed to be fun. If you're not having fun playing out here, don't play. Take something else up. When I used to do all these different shots, they were fun to do. Left foot up in the air, and you should be right under the basket when you shoot it. Now, as you're coming down the court, you're going to be going a lot faster than I am. I'm only taking one step, leaving from the foul line. But as your momentum carries you, you're going to be under there real quick. So your left foot's there, up in the air, and you're right there. Just like that. That's called the loop shot. Okay, right now I want to demonstrate to you how to shoot the hook shot. Now, one of the basic ways to get into a hook is to do the George Mikan drill. Now, George Mikan was voted the best player the first 50 years of basketball. The best player to ever play the game the first 50 years. George Mikan was voted that. So, he used to have what we call the George Mikan drill. Now, it's just a right hand and a left hand little hook layup. So I'm going to start on the right side. I'll get the ball. And I want to lay the ball real soft up against the rim. I don't really want it to touch the rim at all. I want to just hit the net and come down to my hands. This will warm you up. This is a good warm-up drill to shoot this little hook shot, whether it be right or whether it be left. Now, after you shoot this shot, then you can move out. When you shoot the hook shot, make sure that you use the board. Make sure that you use the board when you shoot it. Make sure the ball rolls around. Notice the backspin I have on the ball. You have a lot of backspin when you shoot the hook. So, I want to go out. I want to use the board. Now, you do the same thing on the left-hand side. I want to use the board. Use the board. I get the ball here. I want to take it, lay it up real soft on the backboard. So whether you're from the right side, whether you're from the left side, or whether you're from inside, in front of the basket, here, shoot the hook. It's a very good shot. One of the best shots that's ever been invented was invented by a guy, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. He calls it his sky hook. He has scored over 35,000 points in the NBA, and he's still shooting it. That is his bread and butter shot. That's the shot that he shoots 75 to 85% of the time. How does he shoot it? Every center, every young kid that's going to grow up to be 6'5" or 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 or even 7 feet should learn how to shoot the sky hook. The difference is this. If I shoot a regular hook, I'm going to bring the ball in front of me right here. I'm going to bring it in front of me like this. The ball is going to be released from here. The sky hook is a little different. The sky hook is going to be released at the top from up here, and it's going to be all wrist. So that when I shoot the sky hook, I'm going to take the ball here. The ball is going to come up to this point right here, and I'm going to release it with my wrist just like that. Just like that. So, when you shoot the hook, make sure the hand's up and release it, and you shoot it just like this. Look at it again. Up. Get it up. This shot will not be blocked. Every center that's ever going to play the game of basketball should learn how to shoot the sky hook. I used to spend so much time in the gymnasium that, frankly, I got bored. And so to break the boredom, to break the monotony of just shooting the basketball all the time, I would develop some crazy shots. And the reason I developed crazy shots was, number one, to build confidence. You see, if I could do things that other kids my age couldn't do, it would build confidence. It would encourage me to go on. Because if I could practice like that and do these things, It was very good for me, and it'll be very good for you. First shot I want to show you right now is this one. The level of success that you attain depends upon your God-given talent and abilities, good instruction, and practice, practice, practice. Remember, don't forget to do your homework.
Now you can learn even more of the secrets that made Pistol Pete Maravich into a basketball legend. Pistol Pete's Homework Basketball puts the fun in the fundamentals of dribbling. Pass like a pro as the pistol reveals the keys to his deceptive passing and artistic playmaking. Let the pistol help you with your homework by teaching you the drills that turned him into a ball-handling wizard. Pistol Pete's Homework Basketball. Shooting, dribbling, passing, and ball handling. They all add up to making your game great.